Hello everyone, this is Dominic Palazzolo. I'm the owner of Marvelous Molds, and I want to demonstrate one of my favorite molds for you today. This is the large chain mold, and it is the only mold in the world that will actually produce an open link chain. A Marvelous mold is a mold and a cutter combined, all made out of silicone, and I'll show you how that works. As you can see, I like to add just a little bit of cornstarch to my mold. It's a little insurance that it's going to come out. I'm going to take my sheeted fondant. Now, I add about 1 teaspoon of Tylose per pound of fondant, and I work that in, and I let the fondant sit at least an hour to give the Tylose, also known as CMC, a chance to actually work and make a decent, nice molding fondant that really works well in our molds. Unlike other molds, we never want you to finger pack, taking little bits of fondant and trying to fill a mold. We just put a sheeted piece of fondant on top and just press it right down in there. And so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to take this and press it down, and you can probably see the trimming blades appearing. And these trimming blades are positioned around the opening of the mold, so that what we can do is we can just take a rolling pin and we can just roll across the top of our mold, and those blades are going to trim this fondant perfectly for us. So I'm just going to go across the top. Now, I'm not pushing down real hard. It's really just a back and forth motion that enables these blades to bite into the fondant from underneath. And there you have it. Boom, trimmed, done. So as you can see, when you work with Marvelous molds, you can really move quickly, and that's really important when we're doing some type of a cake project. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm going over the mold, the top of the mold again, and do you see how I'm applying some friction? You can also take a fondant smoother and you can just press and turn. Okay, now, believe it or not, while we're doing that, from underneath, these islands that you see here are actually cutting into the bottom of the fondant. And so if you take the edge of a spatula, the edge of a wheel knife, and just go back and forth, what it'll do is it'll just knock out those centers very, very quickly. Okay, so there we go. All of our centers have been removed. Now we're just going to set this mold aside and get rid of all this little debris here. Okay, so let's get back to the mold. I'm going to rub my finger over the top in order to kind of clean this up. All right, now every Marvelous mold is see-through, and while you may think that a chain doesn't have a lot of detail, what detail it does have, you really want to acquire that, okay? So what we want to make sure is that all these links are well defined, and so I'm really going to just kind of push down again, all right? Just to make sure that we've pushed the fondant into the cavity and we've got every detail of the chain so it looks authentic. Okay, now we want to make sure that the edges of our chain are nice and clean. We don't want any tattered ends. So what we do is we take that blade that trimmed the fondant, and we're just taking that blade and we're pushing it in and downward, and that puts a nice rolled edge onto the fondant inside the mold before it ever comes out. Now, how do we get this complicated piece out of the mold without stretching it or deforming it? Well, the first thing we do is we grab it on each end and we're going to just pull it like that, okay? And I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it creates some gaps around those center islands, okay? Then we'll turn the mold this way and we'll just pull it. You could press up from underneath too while you're pulling, and that's going to loosen this chain. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, here's the magic of the mold. If we take both sides and we pinch it, watch what happens. Do you see how that mold just opens up? That's how we're able to get our chain out of the mold. To take this chain out of the mold, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over, and then we're just going to start it here. And then all I want you to do is remember, pinch and pull, okay? So we're going to pinch it and pull it back, pinch it and pull it back. And there you have an absolutely perfect open link chain. Absolutely realistic looking, if you look at that. Now, in addition to the large chain mold, we have the medium chain, and that's going to give you a much smaller, finer chain. And the drill is the same. We're going to start it, and again, it's pinch and pull, pinch and pull. And what you're doing is, you see, you're opening the mold, and then you're pulling it away in order to reveal an absolutely perfect chain. So there you've got our medium open link chain. And then our small chain is not an open link. Let's just unmold that real quick. But it has beautiful texture. By the way, if you're looking at these funky ends, they go together just like that to form a beautiful unbroken chain from end to end. So there you have it. The only mold in the world that produces an open link chain. This is perfect for fashion cakes when you're making something like shoes or handbag cakes. Man cakes, we all know how difficult that is to find something that really works for a man-themed cake. Chains are great for nautical cakes, like holding an anchor. Steampunk, throwing a chain in there is going to be really, really great. You can treat this with metallic dusts, and it looks absolutely perfect. And let's not forget goth cakes. A nice chain like this really, really, puts it all together. So I just wanted to show you one of my most favorite molds, and maybe you'd like to join our mailing list. Get on our newsletter, because you never know when a cool mold like this is going to be on sale, and you can grab it and put it in your collection. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more.